We're singing.
Oh, what's going on?
She's just trying to play something by somebody's
John Snyder. Woohoo!
John Snyder. I love John Snyder.
The Dukes of Hazzard guy.
He's the co-founder of Children's Miracle Network with Marie.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hey,
Marie and John Snyder started what's it called? Children's Miracle Network.
Very cool.
So you're listening to some John Snyder.
Okay.
You don't need to try and fool me. You don't need to leave me on.
Okay.
Okay, all right, great, Carol. I love it.
I know the cue.
Carol's one of the few people that when I play Donnie and Marie, she can sing along with the songs.
I love them all.
It is good to see you. Welcome to Tuesday. Wonderful to see you, everybody. Okay, let's take a big deep breath.
I'll cough.
What's going on, Carol?
Nothing.
Okay, all right.
Take a deep breath and cough. No.
Sometimes let me just see who we've got here. We've got Cynthia, Allison, Sarah, Carol, Allison, and Lori. Right? Okay.
Yep.
Where's everyone?
Oh my God, Carol, are you all right tonight?
Oh.
Okay, we're gonna pray. So let's all focus.
Please
All
do.
okay. Let's close our eyes. Take a big deep breath. Dear Mother, Father, God, Divine Source, Universe, all that is, come together today with open hearts, open minds, and an open spirit. We allow today to be a time of love and support and guidance for everyone here. We ask that as we share today, as we relate today, that we become more of our true selves, which is loving, joyful, and peaceful. Breath. And together we say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, everyone. Good to see your wonderful faces. I hope your week has started off well. We're going to do a little sharing, a little quick sharing, and then we're going to get into where we left off. Now, you have to, we are on page 30 and paragraph 6. Am I right?
Let me check. I think that sounds right.
I don't think we got
Yeah,
that.
that's correct. Yeah, we only got through number 5.
Yeah, it starts, so we're starting at 6 because I had the same mark and the same mark for the other class, another class. I was like, is that this class? Is that class? So, okay, so we're going to start at, it is possible to reach. Is that where we're starting?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was good. Okie dokie. So we'll do a little bit of a share, just some catch up. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome back. Little catch up for each of us, and then we'll start reading. I'll go first because it's easiest. Let's see. What's my? Oh, I have a really cool thing. In the immersion program. What is the immersion program? Yeah, it was immersion program. That Lori's in. She'll be able to relate this. We were talking about time. We're talking about time and by being in the present moment and how valuable in the Course in Miracles calls it the holy instant, right? And how we can use time. Time is used as just a neutral tool. It's a learning tool, right? And I told a story about how I've had quite a few experiences where time has really stopped or changed or stretched in my life. And I gave this one example that was really, I don't need to give it again, but you know, we just had, this is how law of attraction works, and the law of attraction, of Course in Miracles, like same thing, right? So we just were talking about it and talking about how time is just a construct, you know, it's just an idea, and it can stretch, it can, you know, miracles happen beyond the limits of time, right, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can have instantaneous healings. That's why all that stuff. Well, literally the next day, which was this morning, I'm in a program right now, which is really intense and really great. And I'm supposed to be at the end of this program. It's supposed to be 8 weeks. Well, I got a call that they just gave me 2 extra weeks in the program.
Oh,
Cool.
Wow.
Time stretching, time stretching. It was just crazy. They were like, we're going to give you 2 more weeks. And for the holidays, you get like 8 days. And then you're going to give you an extra week. And I was like, and I'm literally in this program. I'm trying to keep up and doing the work and having fun. But it's a lot of work. And I was literally going, God, if I just had some more time, if I just had some more time. And then this morning, what do? They stretch time out. So it was really great. You know, ask and you shall
Receive.
receive 100% of the time. So I asked, and that was just a great example of, you know what, time is just a construct. You have no idea it could happen like that, or time could stretch out to make sure that everything works out perfectly for you, right? Because I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I know it always works out. So sometimes it's a time thing. So I wanted to share that to give you a little inspiration. If you're feeling crunched on time, ask for more time. And guess what? You'll probably get it. So that's mine.
awesome.
Good. All right. So who would like to share next?
Max, do you mind repeating what the question was? Sorry, I was late.
We're just doing our little share at the beginning.
Oh, just a general share?
Yeah, and that was my little share. So I just went first. So just a general thing, how you doing, a challenge or a success, you know, just a small little thing. Anything.
Oh, I know.
Hey, Carol.
I found online, hallelujah. I was going to share the link. It's, there's 13 days of meditation and something. Oh, crap. Let me find it. Anyway, there's like 32 speakers that are going on every day from now until the end of the month.
Oh, cool.
And
Like a summit, right?
and it's free. And it's
Yeah.
free.
Good.
Sound Source or something. I'll get the link if anybody wants it. But
Sure. Yeah. Can you put it in
I
get the link and put it in the group? I would love that. Yeah, there's a lot of those summits with a lot of
pardon me?
there's a lot of those summits with a lot of different people speaking.
Yeah.
Register, right. That's great.
I never saw that before, and I was like, holy crap. I looked at some of the names, and it was like, I know them. You know,
Yeah.
so it was like, I want to hear.
I love that. A free gift, a wonderful free gift.
And they're free for 24 hours, but then they have, like, if you want the upgrade package and get the little gifts, then of course it's extra. But
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. That, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't looking for anybody but you, but that came up, so I was excited.
Yeah, share with us. I love that. You know what? I actually have done a couple of those, so that's really good. It's really valuable. So thank you, Carol. So put the link in. I love that. Love finding. Good.
Free
All right.
registration.
Free. Good.
Free.
I love that. Okay. Who's next?
Well, I can go. It's been a bit of a week. My best friend's mother went into hospital with pneumonia on Monday, and was doing really well to the point that they actually took her off oxygen on Tuesday, which is a miracle because she also had COPD. But then Wednesday in the wee hours after she sent my friend, her daughter, home, she crashed within 18 minutes and passed away.
Oh.
And
That's happening. Yeah.
they still don't know. I think her cognitive and physical health had been failing for quite a while. She's always rallied back, but I think she was pretty exhausted. And there were some signs in hindsight now, like we exchanged our Christmas gifts, and in her card to me, which was totally out of character for her, because normally she's very, stay positive, don't, whatever. She wrote in my card, "Thank you for taking care of Cindy, who's my friend, her daughter. And yeah, and in hindsight, I think she knew, because all these years we've been exchanging gifts. She's never explicitly stated something like that. So, and then for various reasons, my friend and her brothers wanted this all done, the celebration of life done quickly. So it was like on Sunday. So it's just been a whirlwind of a week.
Wow.
So I've been doing a lot of walks on the beach to ground myself. Thank goodness I live by numerous beaches.
Nice.
And when I can, I bring my friend with me. Yeah, so it's just been one of those weeks. Everything I had planned kind of went out the window.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what those things are. Yeah, it's that what's it called? Those periods of like readjustment. It's like you have to adjust everything. You have to readjust what you're thinking about her, about your life. It all kind of.
Yeah.
But
so
you're lucky that you have time to kind of do that, to walk on the beach, to process it, right? Because a lot of times people don't have time to do that.
No. So yeah, I am fortunate. I have the time and I have the beaches. So,
well, bless her. And we're not a body anyway, so she's just like doing her thing, having a
and she's not really gone, and
but it's still tough. Right, so. All right, we're all there for you, Cynthia. I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's see who's next.
I don't have anything major at all, just that I have been having a little bit of a stomach upset, no illness, but I think my body is going through a bit of detox because I just changed the supplements I'm taking, and my body's adjusting. So if I go off camera, I'm be right back. But I've been enjoying
that kind of stomach thing.
Yeah. But I've been enjoying so much Course in Miracles, especially liked your joyride today. It's just a process every day. It's a little bit more of it. Just reminding myself I am enough. I found some really, if anyone, I'll put this in the note in the chat too. This app I've gotten to meditate by also has not just guided, and it's all free. You can pay to upgrade it, but it's free. I think it's called Insight Timer.
Oh yeah, Insight Timer. I've got some, like 3 of my meditations are on there.
I love it so much. I haven't found yours at all. I'll look for it.
There, it's Max Ryan. I think I have 3 of them. I need to upload some more on there.
I love it. I really love it because it has music and guided, but the guided have, just like hit me between the eyes a few days here recently. So
good.
I'm really enjoying that.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, Insight Timer. Very good. Thank you, Allison.
Mm-hmm.
We're all surrounding your tummy with light.
Thank you. I might have to mute because you might even be able to hear it rumbles. I mean, how being a Virgo. I mean, people across the room can hear your stomach just go like it sounds like somebody's beating another child or something.
You don't need to.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, not that. Just really bad grumbling tummy. Yes. I mean,
got it.
What kind of supplements were you on, Allison?
I know, God.
I've been taking Melaleuca supplements for almost 18 years now.
Oh.
And they're wonderful. But I'm just trying out a new one that has juices in it. And stuff like that. Some superfoods and that sort of thing. Just to try something different.
I used to sell that junk.
And my
your body needs to get adjusted to that, right? Yeah.
Detoxing a little bit too.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll ignore the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll mute if it's a problem.
That's okay. Thank you, Allison. Okay, we haven't heard from Lori or Sarah.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Lori.
Well, I'm part of the immersion program, and it's a lot of reflection on self-care. And I'm so proud to say that yesterday I went to the gym itself for the first time in a very long time. I met my friend Anne-Marie, actually, who you met at one of the New York events. And she said to me, "You want to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And like, I've been doing the treadmill at home, but I'm like, I haven't been to the gym really in so long. And I felt so empowered leaving there, like, yes, like I'm back in a good, frequency or vibration. And I was really happy about that.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Congratulations. Very good, Lori.
Nothing like going to the gym. What the hell is that?
I love it. Very good.
Thank you.
That consistency, and then keep that consistency, and all of a sudden something clicks over into something else. So Sarah and your little partner. Are we frozen? Am I back?
Now you're back.
Are we back? Am I frozen?
You're back.
Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
So I was just gonna share, I guess, one of my kids, Griffin, our 5-year-old, he's been having really bad toothache. He had a really bad cavity that we hadn't had a chance to have fixed, and it kept getting worse and worse. And on like Thursday or Friday, he got to the point where he wouldn't eat anymore. So we went all weekend without eating. He finally decided to eat yogurt, so we got him to eat yogurt. That's all he would eat. And so today he finally had an appointment to go in, and he ended up having to have his poor little tooth pulled. But by the time he was going to bed, he was like running around and acting kind of back to himself. So I'm just happy that he's finally feeling a little bit of relief from that. So
That's huge.
that's it.
Glad. Those toothaches, when you're a kid, God. It's like crazy. Just even thinking about those kind of toothaches, that's rough.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, give yourself a round of applause, everybody. Tummies and meditation and tooths. Yay. All right, let's take a big deep breath. So we will start at paragraph 6. Let me just go really quickly. I'll do a quick review of what we did, so can we flow right into what we're going to read today, because it might not make sense. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly do a review of what came before, and then we'll. The order is Carol, Cynthia, Allison, Lori, and Sarah.
Whoa.
Okay, Carol, you're the first. Okay, so going back to page 28. Remember, this is all about fear and conflict. I'm just gonna. So much of this is highlighted, I can't go through everything. But okay, so on page 28, he talks about my control can take over everything that does not matter, while my guidance can direct everything that does, if you so choose. Really big. This is all about fear and conflict. And remember, don't we do that all the time? We keep trying to control and try us do it. We do it. And it's like someone I was working with today. She's like, I gotta keep forgetting. I keep trying to do everything. It's like right there. My control can take over everything that does not matter, while my guidance can direct everything that you so choose. So everything that doesn't matter is all the mishigas, all the organizing, and all the all that stuff can be taken over by God and Jesus, higher order. It can just be taken over. And then it totally can direct everything that does. Your purpose, your love, your connection with others, all that stuff can be taken over. Okay, so remember, that's a big one. Anyone here have control issues? Right? That's one of the things in all this work you have to remember. It's like, this is not about how to figure it out. It's about how to be in a place where miracles occur. So you have to hand it over, my friends. Okay, let's move over to page 29. Let's go. Okay, in paragraph 2, sentence 6, he says, the truth is that you are responsible for what you think, because it is only at this level that you can exercise choice. What you do comes from what you think. Say this over and over. Choose again, choose again, choose again. You know, your mind and your thinking is where everything starts, right, everybody? And that's where the power of choice comes in, is in your thinking. And so if you think differently, you will act differently, right? Okay? And it's not just knowing. It's like that thing that I always say that, that Oprah quote or whatever, when you know better, you do better. That's not always true. But when you are better in your thinking, then you do better. When you know better, it's one thing. But when you have rewired how you think, you automatically, your actions will follow that. Right, everybody? Okay. I love this line, number 10 in that same one. When you are afraid, it is a sure sign that you have allowed your mind to miscreate and have not allowed me to guide it.
Yeah.
Every time you're afraid, you're like, I'm going to control. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh, I have to make sure. As soon as you go, Jesus, take the wheel, you literally, and you mean it, your fear goes, right? And one day we're going to play that song because I love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. The top of 4 is perfect. The correction of fear is your responsibility. The correction of fear is not Jesus' responsibility, God's responsibility. Jesus can see it, but God sure doesn't see any fear because it's all love, right? But it's our responsibility to correct the fear. And the only thing that we have to do to correct the fear is choose again. I'm scared. Please, God, show me another way. Please let me focus on something else. Please show me your light in whatever this fearful situation is, right? Okay. And then number 6 in that sentence, in that paragraph is huge.
Number what?
Number 6 in that paragraph. You are much too tolerant of, repeat it, everybody?
Mind wandering.
Wandering.
That's what I'm doing.
Mind wandering. And are passively condoning your mind's miscreations. So every time that you go, oh God, I'm so confused, and I don't know what to do, and I just feel like, literally, it's like you're going, well, I can take a little bit of misery, a little depression, a little fear. I'm just condoning it. And then this is what the mind does. It goes, well, that's just the way it is. I should be a little miserable. I should be a little depressed. That's just the way it is. And he's like, you are so condoning all your mind wanderings that you just go, I always say the train, right? So the pity party train comes up to the station, and you could just stand there and go, there's a pity party, see ya, bye. Or you could be like, let me get on just for 2 stops. And then I'll get off when I get to Ottawa. And then, or you could just go, there it is. Or I'm just gonna stay on the platform and see it go. That's why we meditate, right, everybody? That's exactly why we meditate. When we meditate, we see the pity party train go, that's interesting. Oh, okay.
I still can't do that.
What'd you say?
She said she still can't do that. I think.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's listen,
I was
it takes discipline. Allison, what were you going to say?
I was thinking, it makes me think of the scenario or the analogy of the dog sitting on a nail on the porch, and it doesn't know, or whatever it is. Isn't that what it is? Where it doesn't realize that it's, or somebody's a rocking chair keeps hitting the same nail over and over and doesn't realize it. That's the way it's always been, right? Why would I change? It's too comfortable, right?
Right. Because it is what it is, right? Yeah. And it's true. So that's really important. Remember, the Course in Miracles is all about, this is Jedi mind training. What is it?
Jedi mind
training. Jedi mind training is requiring you to do things that aren't easy. If it was easy,
yeah,
well, just be like that. Right? Okay. And then going down to number 5, fear is always a sign of strain arising whenever what you want conflicts with what you want, with what you do.
Yeah.
So there's obviously, there's contradictions. Like, I'm doing this thing and I don't really want to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. And that just produces completely out of alignment. And so it's like, when you're staying, like, I don't know why I'm saying this, but when you're staying at a job and you don't really want to stay, but your egos go, but you need the paycheck, but you need the paycheck, but you need the paycheck, and you stay at the freaking job. And then the more you stay there, the more you get stressed, the more you get fear, the more you get, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people go, well, it's not so easy to just leave.
I'm joining again here.
And then, is it easier to stay somewhere and be contradicting yourself all the time and then end up being miserable for the rest of your life? That's easier? Or just ripping the Band-Aid off? That make sense?
Yeah.
It's much easier to rip the Band-Aid off, my friend. Ooh, somebody's echoing.
Carol came in.
Yeah. 1 second.
Okay. I'm gonna mute you. Okay, thank you. All right. So, okay, bye. All right. All right, so we want to rip the Band-Aid off, right, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the perfect analogy, right? Because you're like, I don't want to. But I'm telling you, you can sit in I don't want to for 30 years. People stay in marriages that they didn't want for 30 years because they just didn't want it. But then once they just go, forget it, I'm jumping, it's like, boom, done. And then you can move through and you can heal and you can start to move through and grow in your life, right? So,
For sure.
anyone relate to that? Allison's
A
like,
little bit.
okay,
A little bit.
let's move on. Then the whole thing about the 2 ways of being. I'm just going to quickly review this. You can choose to do conflicting things either simultaneously or successively. This produces conflicted behavior, which is intolerable to you. I'm at the bottom of 29. Intolerable to you because the part of the mind that wants to do something else is outraged. That's kind of like, we just talked about. That's that conflicting thing. Conflicting. Second, you can behave as you think you should. There's that word, should. As you think you should, but without entirely wanting to do so. I should be a good girl. I should please people. I should make sure everyone's happy. This produces consistent behavior, but it entails great strain. In both cases, the mind and the behavior are out of accord, resulting in a situation in which you are doing what you do not wholly want to do. This arouses a sense of coercion that usually produces rage, and projection is likely to follow. Or what I just said, all of that, is that you lose trust in yourself because you're lying to yourself. You get that, everybody?
Yep.
And people are doing it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're always doing something that they know they don't want to do. And so every time they do the thing or they go to that job that they don't want to do, whatever, they're cementing in their psyche, I'm a liar, I'm a liar, I'm a liar, I'm a liar, I'm a liar. I can't trust myself, I can't trust myself, I can't trust myself. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's why, really the keys to peace and the keys to joy is to listen to that thing and do that thing. No matter how crazy it might sound, you follow that thing. And then you can always stand by yourself. You know that you're not forsaking yourself. Right, everybody?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. It's a big deal. Good. Okay, I won't read the rest. So this is just a little heavy. We're just right into it, everybody. Just a little heavy. It's the fear and conflict hour.
Just wham us with it, why don't ya?
Yeah. All right. So, I'm not going to read because I just did that. So we're going to start on 6. Carol, you're first on the list. Do you want to go first? You want to read number 6 for us?
You muted her.
Oh, unmute. There you go. Oh, no. Oh, wait. Okay. There you go.
Page 30, right?
Yeah, page 30, paragraph 6. It is possible.
Okay. It is possible to reach a state in which you bring your mind under my guidance without conscious effort, but this implies a willingness that you have not developed as yet.
I just said that.
Let me. Where the hell is it? Sorry, I had the TV up a little. Oh, forget about it.
It's okay. It's all good. Take a breath.
The Holy Spirit cannot ask you, are you willing to do? The strength to do comes from the undivided decision. There is no strain in doing God's will as soon as you recognize that it is also your own. The lesson here is quite simple, but particularly apt to be overlooked. I will therefore repeat it, urging you to listen. So you. Only your mind can produce fear. It does so whenever it is conflicted in what it wants, producing inevitable strain because wanting and doing are discordant. This can be corrected only by accepting a unified goal.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Go ahead, Carol.
Was I too far away? I just wondered.
No, you're fine.
We could hear you. We could hear you. You were fine. You were totally fine.
Thanks.
So that is just really repeating what we just pretty much talked about, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
You know, making sure that we are not doing anything of our own will, because our will, usually our own will, not our will with God, is usually being run by the ego and for like ego purposes. That doesn't even have any idea of what it's doing, right? But when the strength to do comes from your undivided decision, meaning you're like, what, and everyone, when you get to the point when, maybe Allison can talk about or whatever, because it just came up, when you're like, oh no, I can't stay anymore. And it comes kind of as a quiet, like, no, this is not happening anymore. I can't do it. Sometimes it's huge, but sometimes it comes in this like moment of clarity where you just
it was
go,
stages. It was stages that I went through, and I was like, but we've been married 24 years. I hate saying 24. Why can't I just wait one more year and say 25? I was like going through some really crazy things. And then all of a sudden I was listening to a silly song in a hot bath, trying to calm down. And it was like this lead curtain just went, and I guess you could say that was dramatic, but it was small steps all up to that, obviously over 24 years. But it was like I knew I had to go find a lawyer and get it done.
Right. And that is a unified decision, because you finally came to the point where you could have, those little things before, the red flags could have told you earlier, but it wasn't until there had, what does he say? All this produces strain and stress and craziness because you keep doing this thing you don't want to do. And at one point, this strength comes from your undivided decision. Because when you don't have the angel and the devil anymore, it's just like, this is it. So that's very clear. And that kind of, this is it, everybody, that's what you're kind of looking for to guide you in your whole life.
Well, yeah.
Pick up the phone, call that person, make the left, dye your hair red. I don't know what it is. Whatever. It's like you just know, and you go, that's what I'm going to do. But we've been so trained to do the opposite because, like, if I call them, then they're going to think I'm a man. If I dye my hair red, people are going to think I'm crazy. If I, all those things. And it can be literally, I'm telling you, as trivial as dyeing your hair. Not that that's trivial anyway. It all depends on what It could be as surface as dyeing your hair to literally committing your whole life to a career. But it's the same thing. The same thing. Right, everybody? That's it.
Totally.
So good. Okay. All right.
Mom.
Anyone want to say anything about that paragraph? Okay. Cynthia, can you read number 7 for us, please?
Yes. The first corrective step in undoing the error is to know first that the conflict is an expression of fear. Say to yourself that you must somehow have chosen not to love, or the fear could not have arisen.
That's good.
Yeah, I love that. I have that one double starred.
Yeah, that's good.
Then the whole process of correction becomes nothing more than a series of pragmatic steps in the larger process of accepting the atonement as the remedy. These steps may be summarized in this way. Know first that this is fear. Fear arises from lack of love. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Perfect love is the atonement.
That's it.
I know.
It's,
I love clear instructions.
I love the digital learner in me loves that. It's like, do this, do this, do this. Boom. But it's so simple. It's also simple. I mean, assuming when we're in fear, we're in conflict, we're like, should I do that? Should I not do that? Should I leave him? Should I stay? Should I da, 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 da? If you literally do go through those 1, 2, 3, 4 things, honestly, and be honest, not like really be honest. And that's why honesty is key, right? Right, everyone? Honesty is what?
Key.
It's key. So you have to be like, I'm in this situation because this whole situation is fear. And fear arises because of, what's number 2?
Lack of love.
Lack of love.
And the only remedy for a lack of love is?
Perfect.
Perfect love.
Love. So you can either give, when everything is love, or a call for love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can either give love to the situation, to yourself, to the whole thing, or you can be like, I'm not going to do that right now. I'd rather stay in conflict.
Yeah,
Stay in conflict.
that's what I want.
Mm-hmm. So you really want it, so you can choose to give it love, to be perfect love, or you can remain outside of it. And then when you do it, remember the atonement is who can tell me what the atonement is, everybody?
I always think at 1 minute.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
Healing the separation.
Separation.
Healing the separation with God, coming back into the vibrational alignment with Source, with God. So that's all you got to do. It's so straightforward.
That's all.
That's all. I'm telling you, it's like he says, it's like, this whole situation is something that you don't do it naturally, but once you know, you can start to do it. And the more you do it, you're like, oh, this situation needs love. That situation needs love. Oh, it needs love. It's kind of like a doctor. Think about this and write this down. This is good. It's like you're the love doctor. And every problem, what problem? Every problem has the same prescription. It doesn't matter if it's cancer, or it's I lost my keys, or I have to quit my job, or should I move? Every single problem has the same prescription. What is it?
Choose love.
Love. Love that. Okay, doctors. Okay, doctors. I'm going to address you all as doctors now. Okay, love doctors. Anyone want to say anything about the simplicity of this?
Well, it drives the ego crazy, I'll tell you that.
Why? What does the ego say to this simplicity?
It can't be that easy. What? What? Come on. Really? Really? All this time I've been doing this for almost 60 years now, and now you tell me it was this easy. Really?
Get out of here.
Exactly.
But
Get
it's
out of town,
but
man.
it's funny to laugh at it. I mean, because it's like you always have, like it says, you remind me, the ego loves to complicate things.
It does. It does.
Some of us more than others.
And everybody's got their own. Cynthia's got her own little areas that she loves to complicate. Carol has her own. I have my own that I love to complicate. But I'm telling you from experience, doing this work for so long, when you get to the point where you really accept that it's all easy, that's when it's good. That's when it's good. You will get to that point where you just go, because they're like kind of like, oh, it's exactly what it's talking about in here. You keep doing something, you really don't want it to be complicated. But you keep making it complicated. And so when you finally just go, oh my God, I'm just going to accept it doesn't have to be hard. Fuck it. That's when it all starts working out. Right? So when you keep doing that, it's going to produce more fear and it's conflict. So I love it. I love it. Let's keep going. Let's see. That was Cynthia. Okay. Allison, can you do number 8 for us, please?
Okay. I have emphasized that the miracle or the expression of atonement is always a sign of respect from the worthy to the worthy.
You understand what that means?
Miracle or the expression, not really. A sign of respect from the worthy to the worthy.
Anybody else get what?
Well,
go ahead.
from God who is worthy to us who are worthy. We just act like we're not worthy, but we're actually worthy.
I get that part, but it's the sign of respect. What is that? The atonement is a sign of respect, like we're correcting the separation, healing it.
The miracle or the miracle is the expression of the atonement or the expression of the atonement. So the miracle is an expression of the atonement because the atonement is perfect alignment. So in perfect alignment, there's miracles happening all the time.
Right. Okay.
Right? So is a sign of respect. So it means what Cynthia said. When a miracle happens, it literally means that God is respecting his son, his daughter.
Okay.
And getting you out of that crazy loop of insanity by using the miracle.
Oh. Okay. So the recognition of this worth is reestablished by the atonement.
Your worth.
Okay. The recognition of this worth. Okay. It is obvious then that when you are afraid, you have placed yourself in a position where you need atonement. You need healing. You have done something loveless, having chosen without love. This is precisely the situation for which the atonement was offered. The need for the remedy inspired its establishment.
Get that?
Need for the remedy inspired its. Okay, I get that. As long as you recognize only the need for the remedy, you will remain fearful. However, as soon as you accept the remedy, you have abolished the fear. This is how true healing occurs. That was a big bite.
Yeah, that's a big bite. Read number 7 and 8 again. Okay, that's a big one.
As long as you recognize only the need for the remedy.
What's the remedy?
The atonement, love.
Right.
But as long as you recognize only the need for it, meaning being in fear, you will remain fearful.
Right.
However, as soon as you accept the remedy, you have abolished the fear. And this is how true healing occurs. Well, that
So
makes
it's
total sense.
your perception of yourself. When you perceive yourself as separate, and you need the atonement, you need to come back, right? You need to come back. But once you, and that's because you're blinded by fear, right? You're already perfect and healed and whole. There's only thing that's real as what? Love, right? So you're already healed and perfect. We were talking in the Saturday class about the whole idea about healing. Healing really should be transcending, right? Because real healing, if you say you need to be healed, you're immediately putting yourself in this presumption that you are not all love. But you can transcend the fear. You don't need to be healed from the fear, but you can transcend it because it really is not real. Does that make sense?
It's just our perception is.
Yes, it's our perception. It's our perception. We forget who we are. We forget we're the light of God, that we're perfect in every way. And then we think, oh, I'm cancer. Oh, no, you're not. No, you're not cancer. So you don't need to be healed from cancer. You need to transcend the cancer to remind you that you are completely whole and healed and perfect already. That's how a miracle occurs, right? So that's kind of saying a similar thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. That's how real healing occurs. Good. The next part is really good. Okay. This part is circled and starred and 3 colored, and it's got words written all over it. It's so good. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is the last one, 9, right? Okay. This is a big one too. Allison. Lori, can you read number 9, please?
Yep. Okay. Everyone experiences fear, yet it would take very little right thinking to realize why fear occurs. Few appreciate the real power of the mind, and no one remains fully aware of it all the time. However, if you hope to spare yourself from fear, there are some things you must realize and realize fully. The mind is very powerful and never loses its creative force. It never sleeps. Every instant it is creating. It is hard to recognize that thought and belief combine into a power surge that can literally move mountains.
Oh, isn't that good?
Yep.
Go ahead.
It appears at first glance that to believe such power about yourself is arrogant, but that is not the real reason you do not believe it. You prefer to believe that your thoughts cannot exert real influence because you are actually afraid of them.
Oh.
Ouch.
Mm. Mm-hmm. It's like in other parts of in the Course, he says, you're far more afraid of your light than your darkness. You know your darkness, but you are really afraid of your power, of your real co-creative power with God. Right? Read that last one again.
Okay. You prefer to believe that your thoughts cannot exert real influence because you are actually afraid of them.
Go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This may allay awareness of the guilt, but at the cost of perceiving the mind as impotent. If you believe that what you think is ineffectual, you may cease to be afraid of it, but you are hardly likely to respect it. There are no idle thoughts. All thinking produces form at some level.
This is big. This is big.
Talk
Right.
about law of attraction. Yeah.
That's what it says right here. Law of attraction.
Yeah.
This is the law of attraction,
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
right? And it's interesting because what we do is exactly what he says here. You prefer to believe that your thoughts cannot exert real influence because you're actually afraid of them. Or you think, oh, you know what? Just judging this person isn't going to be so bad.
Just for a minute.
Just for a minute. Or you think that, literally this is it's a thought-based, thoughts are energy from the mind. And that's we're co-creating with God all the time, right? And God's just this energy that's going, okay, is that what you want? Here you go. You're going to co-create with that force. Well, actually, I would say you're miscreating. You're miscreating, from the Course in Miracles point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I love the, actually, Lori, read from 12 on to the end, because that's really powerful.
Okay. If you believe that what you think is ineffectual, you may cease to be afraid of it, but you are hardly likely to respect it.
Yes, so what does that mean?
You don't give enough credence to or power. You don't think very much of what you think. It just doesn't have a lot of effect.
Right.
It's,
Yeah, exactly.
Not just saying it, but not believing it.
Right. But it's so powerful, and the more you know it, the more powerful your thoughts are. Let me tell you, the more conscious you are of it, the more, and this is how you attract things, and this is how that's why it's really important for you to be like, oh my God, I was just thinking of blue butterflies, and there are blue butterflies everywhere. And that is whatever. But then this is what you do. Watch. This is what a lot of people are like, well, that's just blue butterflies. Forget blue butterflies. That doesn't mean anything to me. But what about $3 million? I'm going to just work about $3 million. I'll respect that thought, but I won't respect the blue butterfly thought because it's, do you know what I mean? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, read the last line, the last two lines actually.
Okay. From 12 again?
Now 13 and 14, because we need to hear that 50 million times.
Oh, okay.
13, there are.
Oh, there are no idle thoughts. All thinking produces form at some level.
Right. At some level is really important, everybody, right? Mm-hmm. So listen, like last night, what did I start off with the law of attraction story about time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was focusing on time, and I was focusing on, time. I literally was not, this is how it works. I wasn't going, I did go, wow, it would be great if I could have more time in this program, so I blah, 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 blah. I did, but I wasn't like, please give me more time. I didn't, but I was just talking about it. But inside, I gave it a little of attention, and like, it would be great if I had some more time. That'd be great. Whatever. So that was a thought. And that produced that form of them offering me 2 more weeks. I couldn't have figured that out, right? But God did. But it all worked out in that way, right? That's just like when it's kind of like chicken or the egg, when you do the spirit numbers, when you see 444 or 1111 and all that stuff, it's like chicken or the egg, right? Because then it's like, oh, there's a thought, 1111. And then you gave it energy and focus. And then there's another 1111. There's 1111. There's 1111. And you see how just the little tiniest little thought will start to produce things outside of you. Right? So think about think about this. Think about when you worry about things. When you have fear about things. You're like, oh God, I hope I don't get in an accident. You create what you defend against. That's why it's so important to be able to choose again, choose again, choose again. Oh, I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm not going to focus on that right now. Right? Or I'm going to focus on something else. I'm going to say yes to something else instead of yes to that. Allison, were you going to say something?
It's just amazing to me sometimes when I think about how the vocabulary I used to use and the thought patterns, when I don't think I have changed very much, and I think back, wow, when I was 20 and 30, I worried so much, even though I was trying the beginnings of learning about law of attraction. I was so far away.
Yeah.
It's just changed so dramatically.
Yeah. It's
Kind of get out of that habit.
all of it is a practice because the world is going to keep you in the insanity of the illusion that you are at the effect, and the world, you're at the effect of everything in the world, that you're not the cause. Right?
I'm the little victim.
And that's what this morning in the joyride, that's what it was all about, that you are the cause and that's the effect and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Speaking of, and I didn't even look at, the next section is cause and effect. This section is like every color of the rainbow for me. It's like crazy. I love it. It's every single color is highlighted in this. I've got underlines and oh my God.
I think we did it in the essentials because I've already got it all.
Yeah, me too.
I've done it so many times in so many forms. I think we probably did. We did.
Yes.
Okay, I want to actually, because we're at the end here and we're like just at the top of the hour. Sarah, you didn't get to read, but I want to hear what you're thinking right now because you didn't get to read. And I want to go into this next section because it's too much. What would you like to contribute, Sarah?
Well, I wrote down every problem only needs love. So I got that. And then I'm still just thinking, which I said this last week too, but I'm still thinking about it. Just about it being more of what the cause of the fear is too. Like that asking to be, oh, don't let me be afraid of this anymore, but figuring out what it was that caused you to be afraid in the first place. I'm still, I don't know, kind of thinking about that a lot. So,
like the source or the root of the fear?
Right. Yeah.
Well, it could be a million things, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Could be, a lot of times I was just talking to someone this morning about it too, one of my clients, and I was saying, it's just all about your story. It's really about the story. Whatever story is going to produce fear or is going to produce love or whatever in so many ways. So a lot of times the cause of fear is what that little thing that's going in the back, like there's a story about this whole thing that is going to produce fear or anxiety or stress for you, right?
Which is why we're unlearning all of that.
Right. Mm-hmm. The unlearning of all of that, and it's also the awareness of it, because most people think that story is them,
Right.
and they don't have any choice over it, which is completely asleep. But as you see, and if you're really inquisitive, like you need to be, and you need to be really do a lot of self-inquiry when you do this work, you go, aha, I know why I've developed that fear. It's because this and this and this. It's like, that this is a psychotherapy spirituality, right? So in psychotherapy, they'll be like, okay, what did your mother do? What's your relationship with your mother? But that really is about unlocking and digging up what your story is so that it doesn't have any power over you anymore.
Yeah, in fact, there is now a newer type of therapy called narrative therapy, and it's that. You identify the stories that you have about yourself and your life, and then it's remaking or telling new stories that then allow you to call on your strengths. And so it's that's probably my favorite type of therapy.
I love that.
Because we're all storied. Our existence is based on stories, I think.
It is.
So, yeah.
And stories are really just in so many ways, just habitual pathology thoughts that are repeated over and over and over and over. And so if you start to break it down, you rewrite your story.
Yeah, exactly.
When you rewrite your story, that's when you're free.
Yeah.
That's what, I mean, and of course in classic coaching and of course therapy is like reframe. How do you reframe that? What is the meaning you're giving to that? So how can you change the meaning? If you change the meaning, you have a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also recognizing all our stories are incomplete. So if I focus my story on what's not working in my life all the time, I'm ignoring all the things that are working.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's also about being careful about what elements you bring into your story. That we
Yes.
have choices about it's choosing again
Choosing
in a
again.
different way, right? It's not to ignore the hard stuff, but it's to store them in a way that they don't become your identity. And to also then have room in your stories for the things that work or the things that reflect your goodness, your strength, your resources. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so much has to do with lesson 2. I'm giving everything the meaning it has for me.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Because if you can change the meaning, you will have a miracle. And then if you can rewrite it and change the meaning, you're on your way. You're on your way. I was talking to someone earlier today, and it was like, whoa, it was really, really tough talking to the woman who really needed help. And she really, and I was like, Jennifer, you assigned a meaning to that thing that happened, then you assign a meaning to that thing, and then you assign a meaning to that. But consciously, you're like, you want something completely opposite. But every time you bring up this, you assign that, oh, this is a block, and then this thing with my parents is a block, and then me being divorced is a block, and this is. I'm like, you're assigning so many meanings to all that stuff. You've got to stop doing that. Your story is really tangled, and the reason that you can't get to why you're coming to me is because you have assigned so much meaning to your story. You got to be willing to let go of those stories and start to unravel it all. Was somebody going to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to. I think my favorite thing to remember, and that's the word I'm thinking of. It's instead of unlearning or washing our brain or whatever, it's, a belief is only a thought that we've thought over and over and over again. That's what made me think of that. But then reminding, we didn't come here to learn. We came here to remind ourselves, to remember, to reunite with who and what we really are. It's so much more, I don't know. It doesn't sound like so much work when I put it that way.
I love that. Yeah, that's true. And everyone, I mean, it's kind of like what one of the things that I say that I think is really empowering is that every single problem is asking you one question: do you remember who you really are?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really have done some of this work, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm perfect. I forgot I was love. So let me take a moment, take a breath. Remember I'm love. Remember I'm not my paycheck. Remember I'm not the guy didn't ask me out. Remember I'm not that computer falling apart. I am a perfect child of God. Oh yeah, I am the light of the world. Duh. And then the computer works, then they call, then whatever. Or they don't, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah, very good. Okay, ladies. Okay, I don't want to start the next one because it's really good, and I don't want to split this one up. I'm going to try to read this straight through. It's very good. The cause and effect. Okay, everybody? Sound good?
Yep.
Yep. Ready and rearing.
We're 7:10. You know what I'm going to do really quickly? We'll do one thing. So I want to get into this. We'll do one thing. Who wants to volunteer?
I will.
Oh, who was that? Who said?
I said to do what?
Everybody said it. Okay.
I will.
I think I heard Carol first. Carol, did you say it first?
I guess.
Okay, Carol. Okay, Carol, this is what I want you to do. You have your book right there, right?
I do.
No, it's no big deal. I want you to do this. I want you to go like this with your book and open it to one page and put your finger on it, and then we're going to read that one paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay. Now? Okay.
Yep.
Look at
And then tell us where it is, what page.
I guess it says
What page is it?
48.
Page 48?
She's
Uh-huh.
in the lessons.
Oh, you're in the
Oh,
lessons. Okay.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Good. That's fine. Page 48 in the lessons.
I just flipped the page. Okay.
That's okay.
No, it's just
So
that's
I
where
just
you
have
are.
a question.
Oh,
How do you
wow.
know what the heck the lessons go to?
360.
They go to 365. There's 365.
Never mind.
Well, that's lesson 31.
40. Yes.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's such a good lesson.
It is.
It's a good one.
What I meant was, I know that you send out the daily lessons,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
The workbook. How do you line them up? I mean, is it the same readings as in the Course in Miracles?
As the text? I knew what you were going to ask. Keep that because we're going to read this for a second.
Okay.
The lessons have very specific. It's very, very, very specific the way it
Okay.
works. Now, the way that it's not exact, everybody, that sometimes the lessons kind of coincide with the text, but not always. Not always. When you read, if you read a little bit of the text and then you do a little bit of the lessons, it kind of matches, but not exactly. Not exactly. So you don't have to worry about that. The text stands alone, and so does the workbook. Okay? So you don't have to read. If you want to do the lessons, all you have to do is lessons.
Good, because I haven't even touched the workbook. Ever.
The workbook is amazing. Does that help, Carol?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. I knew that's what because that's a very common question. Like, does this mean it's on page 34 and this one on is no? It kind of does, but it's too
It
complicated.
was like, you see chapter 1.
Yeah, it's not. It'll drive you crazy. Just don't worry about it. So. Okay, Carol, are you going to read this? Yeah.
Am I gonna read?
Probably. You know what, Carol? Just
Sure.
read. Are you there?
I am.
Okay. I'm not sure if you need to read all of this, but read the first paragraph at least.
Okay. Today's idea is the introduction to the Declaration of Release. Again, the idea should be applied to both the world you see without the world you see within. In applying the idea, we will use a form of practice which will be used more and more, with changes as indicated. Generally speaking, the form includes two aspects, one of which you apply the idea on a more sustained basis, and the other consisting of frequent applications of the idea throughout the day.
Okay, well, that doesn't matter because most of this lesson is telling you how to do it. So it doesn't matter. It's not going into deep detail. So read the title. Read what it is.
I am the victim of the world I see.
What?
What? Do you hear me?
You missed
I
a
am
word, Karen.
not
You missed
the
a very
victim of the
important
world I
word.
see. I read it.
Not the victim of the world I see. I am not the victim of the world.
You're right. I was wrong.
Right? That's a big deal. Because the world is the effect. We are cause. We're not the victim of that. Right? That's the whole situation. Okay. Good. I'm going to encourage you all to do that. Do you ever do that? Just go, I'm just going to open up with my finger and then see where it lands. Sometimes with the lessons, it's so directive that it's not so great, but do it in the text and you'll be like, oh. Should we do one more?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's going to do it? First one to say yes.
Yeah.
Who was that?
I don't know if Carol said it or not, but I did.
Carol, you already went. Carol, you already
I know, I'm being greedy.
Okay. Let's do another one. Who's next? 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes.
Okay. Allison.
Okay. Let me take my bookmarks out because I don't.
Take all your bookmarks out. No.
Okay, this is page 371.
Holy crap. I opened right to that page.
And it's the title of the section is The Conditions of Peace. And I pointed at paragraph 5. Or should I start at the beginning?
No. We'll be here all day.
Did we just read that paragraph? Okay.
Read the paragraph where your finger is.
Such was the crucifixion of the Son of God. His faithlessness did this to him. Think carefully before you let yourself use faithlessness against him. For he is risen, and you have accepted the cause of his awakening as yours. You have assumed your part in this redemption, and you are now fully responsible to him. Fail him not now, for it has been given you to realize what your lack of faith in him must mean to you. His salvation is your only purpose. See only this in every situation, and it will be a means for bringing only this. I feel like a second grader who just read the encyclopedia.
Well, you're going to read it again on your own, but that's really about what you're doing. What you're doing with your brother, what you're doing with your fellow human being.
I guess.
Oh, okay.
Right? What you're doing with your fellow human being. Okay? All right, let's take a big deep breath. All right. So let's what is everybody taking from what we read, the cause and effect, and I mean not cause and effect, the fear and conflict. What are you taking away from that?
I'm taking those 4 steps.
Mm-hmm.
They're going on an index card this week.
I already wrote them down.
Those are good.
I love it. Okay.
Likewise. That and your question that you mentioned, every problem is asking me, do I remember who I am? That's really all it is.
I lost my page. What page is it that we're on? Sorry.
30?
31.
Oh, okay.
30. Oh, my tummy.
Thank you. Let's see. Sarah, what are you taking away from this section that we read?
Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Oops. Paragraph 8 there.
Bless you.
Number 8 and 9. However, as soon as you accept the remedy, you have abolished the fear. This is how true healing occurs. I like that.
I don't know.
Cool. Thank you, Sarah. Carol, what about you or Lori? Carol or Lori?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Okay. I wrote this observation down. I wrote, choosing love is like the master key or answer to all of life's problems.
Oh, I love that. And it's the truth.
That's what I got from hearing this. It's just, everything just always comes back to love. I also actually wrote this, and I think this kind of applies as a follow-up. You can perfect the easiness just as much as you have learned to perfect the misery.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, drop mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
That is awesome, Lori. Say it again. I hear it again.
Say the first one too, because I missed that.
Okay, the first one is, no problem. The first one is, choosing love is like the master key or answer to all of life's problems. And then the second one is, you can perfect the easiness just as much as you have perfected the misery.
I love it.
I want you to write that or put it on a beautiful picture and put it in the group or share it somewhere. That's really good.
Okay.
And that's true. Lori, that's awesome. Love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to say this, everybody. It's like, it's really valuable. That's why it's a lot of times of course I'm trying to interpret for you and help you, but it's really important that when you're doing this work, you're able to put it into your own words and to articulate for yourself, because that's when you really embody it. Right, Lori?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because then if you can say it in your own words, it's working, it's happening for you. So very beautiful, Lori. I love it. Okay, we haven't heard from Carol, I don't think. Carol, do you want to share what you took away or what stood out for you today? You're muted.
I had to unmute myself. I was being obnoxious. Okay. Well, I'm kind of having trouble here.
Okay, that's okay. There's a lot. We went over a lot. Okay. You don't have to share if you don't want to. Okay.
I suppose I won't.
It's okay.
There's something. I'm sure I can't think right now.
It's okay. Hey, listen. There's many times where I can't articulate what is, because there's so much. So it's all good. All right. So.
Are we frozen?
I think he's frozen.
Thank you so much for this time together and your contribution to the conversation. Am I back? Am I back?
Really?
Tell me when I'm back. I'm gonna wait. Am I back?
Now you're back.
Now you're back.
Okay. I have like 12 things going on my computer. So, okay. All right. Okay, let's start again. Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Thank you so much for your incredible, beautiful contributions today. Thank you so much for your insights that we can learn from each other, that we can help each other, and we can allow ourselves to truly make it all so easy and allow ourselves to let go of any story that's not bringing us closer to our true selves and in connection with God. And we ask that as we walk into this week, that we are more aware of how we are stopping ourselves, making things complicated, or just doing things we really don't want to do. And in that moment, we've got our 4 steps, and we know what to do. We take a big deep breath. And together we say, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
During that prayer, I thought, well, 4 steps is a lot better than 12. I was like, well, we got 4 steps. That's easier than 12. That's a good selling point for the Course in Miracles. And you could save 8 steps by doing the Course.
I still get total. I mean, people that help me to find this through conversations with God. I told you about that. That's too complicated. I'm like, oh, that's a good selling. There's only 4 things.
That's right. That whole book is 4 steps.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's right. That's right. That's why a lot of people in 12-step programs, when they do study it, they get it. They're like, oh, this is just like it. It's very similar. There's a lot of it. So. Okay, my friends. Good to see you. Let me stop this recording. All right, everybody. I love you so much. Do you want to ask me anything, or do you want to say anything before we wrap up?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Love you all.
Okay, love you so much. Have a wonderful night. See you
Let's
later.
all